surprise, it's another coaster report. Bet you weren't expecting this. I know we just did one of these last weekend, and I said I wasn't going to do them every time I go to Kings Island because I have a pass this year, and that is still true. But I did say I was going to do them when there are significant updates, and today there is a significant update. So yes, I did go again yesterday to Kings Island. Jordan's out of town, and I had really nothing to do yesterday. It was a nice day out. I was like, I might as well go and see what it's like, see how things are going. So I went. And we had a pretty good time. So I'm going to tell you all about the things I did. Do some updates on the stuff that we were last weekend and some fresh new coasties. So what's especially nice about what happened yesterday is that I've been watching the weather report up until the day of, and it said rain like for the last like month. It's like there's gonna be rain that day, so I'm like, it'll probably be fine. Hopefully they'll chase away the crowds, and turns out I was right. So I got there like 11 o'clock, I think. They opened at 10, but I didn't feel like getting up that early. But it was still pretty empty and managed to get a lot of stuff ridden. Spoilers. So yeah, finally got Banshee done. This is one of the bigger ticket coasters I wasn't able to do last weekend. The B&M Invert from 2014. Pretty nice coaster, I suppose. I'm not really sure what to say about this one. Like, if you like inversions, this one is for you. It's just inversion after inversion after inversion, and then that's kind of it. And I could give or take that. I don't know. It's got some nice horses and everything, so it's still very fun. I managed to do this one twice. First time in the back. Back was okay. Front was much better. It's nice to be able to see where you're going, even though since you're doing so many versions, you get disoriented very quickly, and it's really hard to tell where you're going anyway. But still a lot of fun, I suppose. My favorite part was actually the very last inversion is a very slow inline twist. If you watch like an off-ride of it, you can see the train go through, and it's very slow, and it's just really funny. And it's actually really fun to go through on the ride, so it's a good time. Why two-way times? I rode this one twice. There are a couple I did twice. I did this one first ride of the day. Took me 9 minutes. And then later on in the day, I came back for a second ride to hit front seat. And it was a little bit busier, so I waited a little bit longer. So, yeah. When opening for Banshee didn't ride, it was too long. Right? Yeah, I heard the opening day was like miserable for Lions. Like it was very crowded, which is unfortunate. But, all right, next up, the other major one I didn't get to last weekend, Mystic Timbers. Managed to also try this one twice. It's pretty much same issues, same deal as Banshee. A lot less crowds at the beginning of the day, so only a 13-minute wait, which is very nice. A little bit longer near the afternoon, but worth it for the front seat. At least the first time I rode. The way that they load the stations, they usually don't let people in and like fill the station up, so there's never a line for front seats. So I'm like, I'll just... And after last week, everyone's like, you can just ask for whatever seat you want and they'll give it to you. So I did that pretty much every time. I was like, can I get front seat? Can I get front seat? And they always said, yeah, sure, whatever. They don't care. But yes, fantastic ride, by the way. I guess bearing the lead a little bit. I love wooden coasters, old and new, and this one is gotta be like the best wooden coaster I've ever ridden. Not that I've ridden a ton, maybe like 10 total. It's also the newest one I've ridden, which probably helps that it's a little bit smoother, a little bit more modernized in its design and layout and everything. But really cool. Excellent theming on this one. There's even like theming on the lift. Like there's like little speakers that play audio clips as you go up, and then you get to the top and it like stops. And it like plays some more like audio clips as like part of the story or something before it throws you over the first hill. Very cool. I like this one a lot. Yeah, shed's a little bit lame, but you know, it's still fun. It's still very silly. But yeah, I like this one a lot. Gave it an A, a very prestigious grade. All right, next up, Backlot Stunt Coaster. I think I had ridden this one before when I went in 2006, I'm pretty sure, but I figured get it again just to be on the safe side. And this one's fine. It's also a very silly coaster. A little bit on the smaller scale. But again, like I said before, great theming. One thing Kings Island definitely does way better than Cedar Point. Almost every ride has got great theming, which I really appreciate. You know, it's nice to have that as part of the ride experience. So, yeah, this one's just kind of okay. It's surprisingly intense for a small coaster, I guess, because the layout is like very compact, so the turns are pretty tight. Yeah, not much else to say about this one. It's fine. If the wait is short though, it's worth a ride on, I would suppose. Yeah, the theming's from when Paramount ran the park, everything was themed to Paramount films. So this used to be Italian Job, and I'm pretty sure I wrote it as the Italian Job. But it's good that they kept around all that stuff. So I definitely appreciate it. All right, next up, Racer, one of the other wooden coasters in the park. And this one, it's hard to, I forgot to take like any photos of Racer, so I had to grab one off Kings Island's website. They did a really nice paint job for it this year, I think, to give it like a classic look. Back when it launched back in the 70s, it had this red and blue paint scheme, and they redid it to look like that, which looks very nice. And it sounds like they've been doing some track work, some extra upkeep on it, because for a 50-year-old wooden coaster, this thing is butter smooth as far as a wooden coaster can get. I rode both sides, red and blue, because you got to get both credits. And I had a blast, to be honest. Just nice airtime hills and everything. The racing elements fun, but I guess when you are done with the coaster, like the train's split off halfway through, so you kind of lose the other train as you're going through, and you can't really tell who actually wins the race, which is kind of lame. Even so, really good ride. I like this one a lot. It was nice that there was a very short line for it. So, good times on the Racer though. Yeah, the top photo is the new paint job. The bottom photo is an old one from RCDB, where they just had a brown track, and now it's got a nice red and blue track. It looks very fresh. It's good stuff. All right, did a re-ride on Orion, just real quick, because I mentioned before. I did wait for front seat on this one because everyone said front seat's the best. And I will say that, yeah, front seat definitely makes a huge difference on this one compared to the middle. Definitely get a lot, I think it's the breeze that makes you feel like you're going a lot faster, makes it a lot more exciting. So definitely worth the wait for the front, especially if they're loading the station in such a way that you don't really have to wait. So bumped this grade up to an A-. Still not as good as Diamondback or Mystic Timbers, but still a very good coaster. Then I decided to wait for Invertigo. This is one of the longest waits of the day for the worst coaster in the park. The Vekoma Boomerang. If you've ridden a Vekoma Boomerang before, you kind of know what you're getting into with this one. Not a whole lot to say about it. It's got the back and forward facing seats, which don't really add a whole lot because you're going backwards for half the ride anyway. I will say, compared to other boomerangs, this one's not super rough. It doesn't bang your head around very much, which is nice. But I think I just don't like going backwards. I think I've learned from riding this one and from riding the one at Darien Lake, which is also not super rough, but going through stuff backwards does not feel good to me, so not really great. Probably won't ever ride this one again, but at least at this point I've got a ride on it. So 43 says, hate this ride, it makes you sick. Yeah, I think if you're like me, maybe it's the going backwards. It's just not a good feeling. It's no good. It used to be that Racer rode one of the trains backwards, and everyone says that sounds really fun, but I'm like, I don't know if I can handle that. That sounds like a bad time. So but yeah, at least I got it done. Don't ever have to do it again unless I really feel like torturing myself. But there you go. All right, did a reride on Adventure Express. Not a whole lot to add on this one. I rode in the back seat this time to see if it is different from the middle. Had a worse time. It was a lot rougher. I don't know if it was just the back seat versus a different seat, or if it was, you know, a different time of day or whatever. Still a good coaster, but definitely will try to ride in the front seat if possible next time. Back is a little bit too rough for me. That's all I have to say about Adventure Express today. Did a second ride on Diamondback because I had to. Line wasn't too terrible. Decided to try the back this time because everyone was saying Diamondback, you got to ride the back seat rather than the front. You get better airtime pops that way. And I can attest that I think the back was definitely better. Also, fun thing I learned. When you're coming off of the very final hill into the water splash, you got those scoops in the back that throw the water up behind the train. If you reach your arms back and you're not careful, or if you're doing it on purpose, you can actually like get your arms in the water splash and get yourself wet. I don't recommend it because who knows what's in that water. But I learned that the hard way. Anyway, Diamondback still excellent. Must ride. Love me some Diamondback. Quick slide for dinner because I decided to get some food while I was there. I was there like, I know I'm breezing through this, but I was there like, I think I had like an 8-hour day. And needed to get some food. Went to Potato Works, which is across from Mystic Timbers, I think. It's in that area. Apparently the pulled pork fries are like a park signature dish kind of thing, so I figured I'd give them a shot. You know, it's some nice greasy fries with some greasy pulled pork and some weird slop on top. So if that's the kind of thing you're into, very Midwestern appeal, I guess. It was fine, I guess. Not necessarily something you'd want to eat if you're going to be going on a lot of high nausea coasters if it upsets your tum-tum. So maybe keep that in mind. Was this a solo trip? Yeah, this is just me by myself. So I got to set my own schedule and go on whatever I wanted to. Didn't have to wait for anybody. It's kind of nice. I mean, it was kind of sad that I was alone, but at the same time, it's nice to be able to set your own schedule. So. This is an odd statement. Diamondback is better than Orion. Yeah, I know. That's my one hot take. I don't feel like I got a lot of hot takes about Kings Island, but that's one of them. That Diamondback is better than Orion. All right. Next up, finally got to go on the Bat. Bat had a bad day at Kings Island yesterday. As I was checking the wait time tracker, it was down, and then it was up, and then it was down again. Kept going back and forth. So after dinner, I was refreshing. I thought, okay, finally it's open. I'm going to run over there, get a ride on the Bat. As soon as I get in line, I see a bunch of people walking out. It's down again. I was like, whatever, I'll just hang out. I got pretty much everything else done today. I might as well stick it out and see if they can fix it. And turns out they did. In like 10 minutes, everything was fine. It wasn't a big deal. It's just kind of annoying that the tracker like didn't keep up to date very quickly. A little annoying for me. We stand the Bat. Yeah, actually, surprisingly, really good coaster. I've only been on one other suspended aero coaster, and that's Iron Dragon. And it's been a long time since I've been on Iron Dragon, but this was actually surprisingly good. Feels a lot faster than it really is. You get some nice forces on this thing. Really fun. The swinging isn't even that bad until the very end when you're pulling into the brake, and you really rock back and forth a lot there. But aside from that, I think the coaster is pretty nice. Very nice ride. I think they've been doing a good job maintaining it over the years. It's pretty old at this point, but good time. Recommend it. Also, if you notice the little trophy thing down there, if I've counted correctly, and I think I have, this was my 50th credit. If anybody cares. I know you don't. Literally nobody cares about credits. Especially not mine, but I thought that was kind of fun. So, and then I think lastly, yes, Flight of Fear. I was getting tired at this point. I was like, this is like the only thing I hadn't ridden yet. So, and the line was super long. I was like, I might as well get in line and see how it is. It hit the tracker. It said 60 minutes all day. I'm like, it can't possibly be 60 minutes to ride Flight of Fear. It's got 4 trains. They should be churning through people. Turns out, no, it was a 1 hour wait. I think they're only running 2 trains. At least that's what it seemed like. Yeah, ops were no good. I don't know. It just seemed like it took forever to get through this line. Like we would stand there and in the same place and the line wouldn't move for like 15, 20 minutes. And then we would walk a little bit and then stay and wait another 15, 20 minutes. It was no good. But I gotta say, I liked this one a lot more than I thought I would. It's one of those launch into a spaghetti bowl kind of coasters, if you didn't know. But I had a lot of fun on it. The lights inside the building were on just enough so you could still see where you were going. It wasn't like pitch black, which was nice. So you could maybe we just got lucky that that's how they had it set up that day. I don't know if it's normally like that, but you could have a good idea of where you were going and everything, which I appreciated. One thing about this one that is interesting is that there's a mid-course brake run, and it stops the train like completely, like to a dead stop. And then you roll very slowly out of it into this dive turn, but you're going so slow that you're just like, you're like hanging almost, and it's weird. I'm not sure if I liked it or not. It was definitely an interesting experience. One other thing about this, a word of warning if you haven't ridden this yet, at least for the front seat, the trains are tiny. Like I'm not a wide person, but I am tall, and I really struggle to fit my legs in because the lap bar like really crushes you in there. I was like almost like curled up in a fetal position trying to get myself into this seat. Felt kind of bad for the guy who's sitting next to me. So that was a little unpleasant. So keep that in mind as well. Maybe I'll try a non-front seat next time to see if they're any different. But anyway, still had a good time on this one, surprisingly. So the smaller than normal aero train. Well, it's not an aero coaster. It's a premier ride, if I've got my thing set up right, which I'm pretty sure I do. No, they didn't have single rider lines. It's just regular admission and fast lane, and that's it. There's no single rider. I did get to cut in front of one train's worth of people because there was a single rider and then a couple and then me, and the couple were like, hey, there's a single rider in front of us, you can go in front of us, which is very nice of them. But other than that, no, there was no single ride. But oh well. I think, and that was it. Then I went home. Did not get to ride the following coasters. Flying Ace, I figured it would be a little bit weird getting on one of the kid coasters by myself. I do want to wait for Jordan to ride this one because I think she said she wanted to ride it. So I want to ride this together with her. Didn't get to Woodstock Express. I rode it last time. Wasn't in a big hurry to re-ride it because it wasn't a big priority. Beast, still closed. Supposed to open this month. Very excited about that. Don't know when, still. But, you know, hopefully sometime soon. So I'm gonna try to get there sometime this month to get on the Beast. We'll see how that goes. And then, as always, I don't have a baby, so I was not allowed to ride Great Pumpkin Coaster. And then, I think that's kind of it. Oh yeah, new ride rankings, of course. Now that I've ridden all coasters except for those 3, I can actually have good rankings. The thing is, aside from Invertigo, every coaster at Kings Island is good. So the rankings here are pretty nebulous. I don't know if, I mean, like, I changed the order of these, like, literally 10 minutes ago. Not 10 minutes ago. Before we started. Because I'm really not sure, like, which ones go where. Again, like I said, they're all good. And if, you know, if the lines are good, I would want to ride pretty much all of these if I had the ability to. So these are my top 12. Invertigo last because it sucks. I don't like going backwards. But if that's your thing, maybe whatever. Maybe you like that. I don't know. See, again, like the 10 through 6 here, like they could go in any order. They're all quite good. And then my top 5, Flight of Fear, way up higher in the list than I thought it was going to be, but I had a lot of fun on that one. Banshee number 4, and then Orion only number 3. There's my hot take for you. Orion's only the 3rd best coaster at Kings Island. And drumroll, we got a new number 1. It's Mystic Timbers. I had so much fun on this one, and like I said last week, I love Diamondback, but I think Mystic Timbers just barely edged it out for me. Just barely. Could go either way. Maybe I'll change my mind as the year goes on. We'll see. But yeah, loved my time on Mystic Timbers. Looking forward to riding it some more. We have the same top 5. Nice. Beast is number 1 for you. Well, I haven't ridden Beast yet. I have not had that pleasure. I'm really looking forward to when it reopens. I'm kind of sad I didn't get to it before they did the retracking, so I could, compare or whatever. But I imagine, based on what I've seen, what I've heard about it, and like I've watched the POVs, I imagine it's gonna be probably in the top 3. But that's just a guess. Hard to say without actually riding it. All right, some final thoughts. Like I said at the top of the show, take advantage of those cowards who can't handle a little rain. Forecast said it was going to rain in the morning, and I think that kept a lot of people away at the beginning of the day. So the lines were super short, was really blazing through. I got like half of those coasters done in the first like 2 or 3 hours. It was great. So, it was a little bit chilly, and it like sprinkled a little bit, but hardly any actual precipitation. And even if it does rain like a little bit, they're not going to shut the rides down unless it like thunderstorms or there's a lot of wind. So definitely watch the weather and try to plan around that if possible. Also, like I said, queue time trackers, not reliable. I was refreshing queuetimes.com like all day. Sometimes they kind of matched up, but most of the time, not really. Like, it's best to just walk past the line and see what it looks like if you're in the area. That's really the only good way to know how long it's going to take to ride anything, unfortunately. Cedar Point's a little bit better, as I mentioned last week, because I think there's more people using it because they've got much higher attendance. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of getting the experience of knowing how to gauge lines based on what they look like. Yeah, Queue Times pulls from Kings Island's official app. That's correct. And the official app is not very accurate. Yeah, last year was better. And well, that's good. I don't know what happened this year that made it different. Maybe it'll get better because this is like the third week that they've been open at all. So maybe as the season goes on, things will improve. But yeah, and like I said, this bottom pool, they have most consistently good coaster lineup? Question mark? Like, I don't have a lot of other parks to compare to, but like at Kings Island or at Cedar Point, there's a lot of fantastic coasters, obviously, but there's also a lot of coasters that I can kind of give or take that I don't mind if I don't ride. But I feel like at Kings Island, I had a lot of fun on every single one except Invertigo, and I would want to ride every single one if I can. So I don't know. Always worth the trip if you're in the area. Get those coasties; they're real good. And that's it for this edition of the Coast Report. I know I kind of blazed through this one, getting some updates in. I'm probably not going to do another one for Kings Island. Maybe like at the end of the season. But I plan on going back a whole lot this year, and I don't want to do all these updates every single time because that's a lot of work for me, and probably not a lot of actual benefit coming out of it. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for indulging me. I hope you enjoyed it.